Welcome everyone. This video is about question 41 of ICAP question bank. We will solve this question in accordance with latest tax law for tax year 2023. To get maximum benefit, please keep along your question book, your notes files and your notebook. And of course, your calculator. Please read the question carefully. You can pause video to read it. Please note that the taxpayer in this question is an individual. Mr. Farrak. Have a look at requirement of question. You are required to compute only one item. The taxable income of Mr. Farrak. Let's get into the story of question. Mr. Farrak has borrowed rupees 8 million from Star Bank Limited. With this money he acquired a plot of land. But he has spent only rupees 6.5 million for it. The remaining amount of 1.5 million has been invested in a business venture with his friend. Please note that the question does not provide any further information about business with friend. Mr. Farrak tried to sell plot of land to Zulfikar Motors. To sell this plot, Mr. Farrak received a deposit of rupees 500,000. This deposit was then forfeited by Mr. Farrak because the buyer failed to make the payment. Let's make a template for our solution. Make first working for property income. To compute property income first we need to work out rent chargeable to tax. Then deduct allowable expenses detailed in section 15A. Rent chargeable to tax comprises of 3 items. First one is rent on accrual basis. Second is forfeited deposit. Third is unadjustable advance. The question tells us about monthly rent of rupees 150,000 per month. Please note that a professional valuer has valued annual rental value of property, which is rupees 2,160,000. Recall notes slide. Actual rent or fair market rent will be compared and higher amount will be treated as rent. Mention it in your solution. Annual rental value will be divided by 12 to get rental value of 1 month. Now compare it with actual rent. Actual rent given in question is rupees 150,000. So the higher amount is 180,000. This will be multiplied by 10. Plot was given on rent from September 1st. Rent amount comes to rupees 1.8 million. Forfeited deposit mentioned in question is rupees 500,000. This has been forfeited in current tax year. Mention it in your solution. Rupees 500,000 will be mentioned as forfeited deposit. Unadjustable advance has been mentioned as rupees 200,000. Recall notes slide. Unadjustable advance is included in rent chargeable to tax, but only in case of building. In this question no building is involved, instead a plot of land has been given on rent. So nothing will be included in rent chargeable to tax. Mention it in your solution. 0 will be added. Now make total of rent chargeable to tax. The total comes to rupees 2,300,000. Let's now talk about expenses. A list of expenses has been mentioned in section 15A. First expense given in question is ground leveling. This is a repair expense for the plot of land. Recall notes slide. A repair allowance is allowed. Please note that a repair allowance is allowed only for building. This question is about a plot of land. So we cannot deduct a repair of a plot of land because repair allowance is allowed only for building. Mention it in your working. 0 will be mentioned as ground leveling expense. Next expense is ground rent and insurance premium. Both of these items are allowable expense under section 15A. Mention it in your working. Rupees 50,000 and rupees 12,000 will be mentioned as expense. Next information is collection charges and payment to professional valuer to determine rental value. Payment to professional valuer is an administrative expense. Both of these items are allowed as expense. Recall notes slide. Collection charges and administrative expenses are allowed as expense. Maximum 4% of rent chargeable to tax is allowed. Mention it in your solution. Collection charges are rupees 140,000. Payment to professional valuer is Rs 25,000. Make its total. Total comes to Rs 165,000. Now compare it with 4% of rent chargeable to tax. The lower amount is Rs 92,000. This will be allowed as expense. Another expense mentioned in question is markup at 12%. Markup is allowed as expense under Section 15A. Please note that amount of loan used to acquire plot is Rs 6,500,000. The plot was generating income from September 1st onwards. This means that markup will be calculated on Rs 6,500,000 for a period of 10 months. Mention it in your working. Don't forget to use 10 by 12 factor, because markup for period of income will be allowed as expense. Expenses are complete now. Make its total. Deduct expense total from rent chargeable to tax. Property income comes to Rs 1,496,000. Working is complete now. Mention it in your main answer format. Also mention working reference for convenience of examiner. You are almost done. In absence of information about business income and any other item as well, we can easily calculate the magic number of taxable income. Taxable income comes to Rs 1,496,000. Congratulations! You did it! Your answer is complete now. You can ask your questions in comments section. See you all in our next video.